Carnage. Is Father Whitaker's disciple among the bodies, I wonder? This man's far too old to be Samuel. No. By the look of his clothes, this man's a docker. Samuel isn't here. I had better follow the blood trail.
Shouldn't you go back home, where you'll be safe?
Maybe later. But for now, I need to talk to my husband at the cemetery, Mr. Reed.
I can't believe I'm doing this. As I feared, Samuel no longer preaches the good word. This is despicable. Since I can't reveal myself to my mother now, I must find a discreet spot to attend the ceremony.
I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. We commend unto thy hands of mercy, most merciful Father, the soul of our sister departed, and we commit her body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
kill my Mary and stick her here in this cold, god-awful place.
These are the legal requirements for the epidemic, madam.
Oh, Avery, I feel so tired. Please take me home.
Yes, madam.
Oh, Mary. What have I done? If I could only change one thing. One thing. This is a nightmare.
Jonathan, there is nothing you can do but accept it.
What brings you here?
I thought you could use the company. I am so sorry for your loss, Jonathan.
A vampire, crying over the death of a loved one. It sounds like a bad joke.
No, Jonathan. She was your sister. And the pain of her death, the hunger that killed her, will stab at you for years. It's important to cry for those you love.
She had been scouring the most dangerous parts of London in search of me. And it led to her death.
Jonathan, don't.
I still hear her last thoughts. They echo in my head. Her mind shattered, and it haunts me.
Jonathan, stop. Listen carefully. You must come to terms with this. You must learn to live with what happened.
How is it possible? Tell me. Is it so easy to take a life every night, and then just smile and nod at those you spared?
Don't you see? You're doing the work of our enemies, feeding your remorse. We are weakest when we grieve, and the guilt blurs our senses.
And so this is why you're here. To warn me. You felt this pain yourself. You too have endured this.
I don't want to lose you, Jonathan. I've lost so many friends. Loved ones I cherished. Pray for Mary's forgiveness, if you must.
I'm not a religious man. You should know that.
This is not about you forgiving yourself. This is for her. This is you telling Mary how sorry you are.
What should I do then?
St. Mary's Church is not far from here. Go there and make your peace. Find the solace you need.
My lady wants me to confess.
No, Jonathan. It's you who wants to confess, I think.
All right, time to make some more of that miracle stew. Where is the burner? Ouch! Oh, shit! Ow! Oh, shit, no more chlorine. Well, the next batch will be a little less miraculous, that's all.
Hello, sir. Sorry to disturb you at this hour. I'm a doctor inquiring about the epidemic. May I come in?
A doctor, you say? No, thank you.
All right. I shan't insist. Goodbye for now, sir.
And off to church he goes, a newborn seeking divine consent to lick the blood from the soft and pointy crown.
Who are you? Make yourself known.
Newborn, you reek of guilt and pointless compassion. Shed your skin, forget your old weaker self.
What do you want from me?
Ascalon does not approve of lone wolves who bring unwanted eyes to our pastures.
So your name is Ascalon?
Ascalon's will is vampire law. Learn them, abide by them, or I shall return as your judge and jury.
These immortals try my patience with their plans and unsolicited counsel.
This man stunned me with his faith. His crucifix. This is not good news.
Over there! There's one of them vermin!
Good evening, Mr. Whittaker.
It's Father Whittaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
I have found Samuel, your disciple. I am afraid I have bad news.
I already expected the worst. He should already have come back. He is dead, isn't he?
Yes, he is now. The epidemic took him.
Samuel steadily made donations to our cause. He would have rewarded you himself if you'd found me in that awful cemetery. Please accept this money.
Your disciple, Samuel, stole from the dead in Stonebridge Cemetery. I have proof of his crime, and proof of his death.
No! Samuel was the best of us. So devoted, so zealous. He gave all he had for the cause. He tirelessly preached the good word.
He defiled the dead with his petty thefts. That's how he financed your misguided crusade.
Think what you will. When this city is saved, he will be praised for his devoted fortitude. He walked boldly into the mouth of abomination.
Your precious Samuel used you. He was an immoral crook.
If that's true, then he will be my burden to bear during this endless night.
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
That woman is as depraved as Jezebel, and she deserves the same fate.
Really? Why is that?
This woman runs no medical facility, but a temple to the false prophets of science and debauchery. And she has many accomplices, I heard.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Would you like me to revive you?
Yes? What is it that you want?
I'm sorry to disturb you at such a late hour.
No worries, my son. I'm still quite awake, having just returned from a funeral.
Yes, I know. I've forgotten what I wanted. I don't know.
May I help you, child? You seem somewhat perturbed.
I haven't the strength to cross the threshold. I wish to pray, to cleanse my soul.
The church is shut by order of the bishop. But I'm still the vicar of St. Mary's, if that is any use to you, my son.
Take no offense, Vicar. I seek just a moment in nothing but my own company.
There are no secrets from God, my son. If your heart needs comfort, consider me your chapel. For I can be as silent as stone.
I've told you once. This is a private concern.
Your eyes burn with rage, yet I see the pain that lies beyond. I am here to lighten the burden of all God's creatures. Whatever you tell me is between us and the Lord.
Very well, priest. As you seem quite adamant.
Open your heart, my son. Tell me what burdens you. With whom do you wish to speak?
Just know, I cared for her.
You seem so troubled by the loss of this girl. What happened to her?
It was an accident. A terrible, terrible accident.
I see. And how are you feeling, my son?
I feel responsible. The pain is consuming me.
I have a final question for you, my son. This is of the utmost importance.
Ask your question, Vicar.
What would you like her to know?
I swear it wasn't me. You know me. I loved you. I could never hurt you. Please, forgive me.
You have been heard, my son, and your burden will lighten if your words are sincere. Go in peace now, and live your life in the way she would have wanted.
Whatever happened on this dock is between my sister and I. It does not concern God at all. This could be the box Lewis thought he lost. Huh. There's a letter inside. A love letter from Joe Peterson's wife, addressed to Barrett Lewis. Who should I give it to, I wonder?
By your false faith.
Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid. Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Right then. You never... I found this box in an abandoned building nearby. I believe it belongs to you.
Let's have a look. Yeah, this is mine. So, you faced those loons that roam around there. Extraordinary.
I suppose I was lucky.
Luck is a commodity round here. Yours should be properly rewarded.
About this package, it's not just tools and trinkets, is it?
I want to be rude or anything after your kind gesture, but it's none of your business.
Barrett, you had an affair with Joe's wife, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. She's the only woman I loved. My first regret is that she stayed with Joe after Harry was born. The second is I never shed a tear when she died.
Do you mean
you're Harry's father.
No one will ever know for sure. And it's better that way. And I don't believe I'd have been all that bad as a dad.
Did you ever try talking to Joe?
Never. But I suspected he knew everything, even without knowing it. And he decided to make me pay in his own way.
What do you know of Harry Peterson? The boy seems so fragile. Not like his father at all.
Harry's a good boy, but he spends most of his time complaining. He's had it tough, all right, but he needs to grow a pair.
What troubles him exactly?
Well, despite being his father's son, almost everything, I think. He never wanted to come to Whitechapel in the first place. Hates this place more than most of us.
Do you have any news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I guess what she does for people makes it all right in the end.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Remember you. Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me. Made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land. You are our champion.
You selected me, chose me.
As shall my children yet to come.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has
something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the Serpent of Knowing with iron spur.
I've had enough of others making decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one.
We are our city's life. God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCullum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
Leave him, Jonathan. This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned. By the sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
I've just returned from my sister's funeral, Edgar. I don't have the heart for this.
I know this place means something to you. I have noticed how you suppress your appetite when around the staff and patients.
You need to know you can trust me, Edgar.
I do, dear fellow, I do.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
Rest assured, I will protect you and your staff.
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this. Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks.
Oh, Jonathan, I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman. Butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the Scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent. For there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols, or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign?
hand of God in action. Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Thank you, my lady. Are you all right, Miss Shun?
My name is Xiao Shun. This is the proper way to address someone in my country.
I do apologize, Xiao Shun. Are you all right?
Yes, I am. This is the only place where I can find some kind of serenity.
You realize...
What? You sound like... Please...
Tell me how your husband died, Xiaoshu.
Matthew died of the Spanish flu, like so many others. It's a mundane cause of death these days, but for me it meant the end of the world.
At this time, there is so little medical science can do to defeat this terrible epidemic. I'm truly sorry.
The worst thing is not his death, even if it tears me apart. The worst is not to have seen it coming, to have lost him so quickly, even before realizing it.
Did he hide his condition from you?
Matthew was a smiling type, a happy sort. Everything that I am not. Did he laugh at his death to come, or did he not realize what was going to happen? I'll never know.
Are you on your own?
I have Thank...
The Spanish flu
You don't...
as hot...
I never said goodbye to Matthew.
Are you a doctor yourself? Is this why you feel so guilty for not saving your sick husband?
No, I am not. But I still need to blame someone for Matthew's death. And who else, if not his wife, who did not see it coming?
I'm a physician. One of the best in the country. But I was unable to save my own sister, Mary. She died in my arms.
Why tell me this? Is it supposed to make me feel better?
No. But I felt I should share it with you. Since she is buried here too.
May I ask what caused the death of your sister?
You could say she was also killed by a terrible disease. A disease I have sworn to fight and cure, no matter how long it takes.
Thank you for sharing that with me, Dr. Reed. Maybe it's time we start to rebuild our lives, you and I.
Have you recent news?
This part of town is very
You should go home now.
I think you're right. Cemeteries are for the dead, for they need silence too. Thank you for your honesty and your wisdom, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your company, Xiaoshu. Take care on the way home.
Maybe I'll see you again in Whitechapel. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye for now.
You can trust me.
I have this thirst for blood. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Stupid beast!
Roll back.
Bloody leech!
It's locked.
This week, Joe. Come on, we can sort it out.
Welcome back, Dr. Reed.
Good evening, nurse. How should I address you? Dorothy? Dorothea? Miss Crane?
Dorothy is all right. If you don't mind me calling you Jonathan.
That's fine with me.
What can I do for you then, Jonathan?
Show me what you have in stock, please.
Welcome back, Jonathan. Do you need anything?
How is the sanitary situation in Whitechapel?
I don't know whether you have undertaken your own patrols or examinations, but local health seems stable.
How are things going in the dispensary?
Things are going fine since we made our arrangement.
Have there been any more attacks by the uniformed men?
No. It looks like they have found another business to extort.
Do you have many patients?
A few, but most of them just pass through and go back home, especially since those vigilantes stormed the building on the night you were here.
How are things going in the dispensary?
Things are going fine since we made our arrangement.
How are things...
Things are going...
I hope you've stopped jeopardizing this facility with your illegal business, Dorothy.
Yes, I have. Most of the time. But the blackmail money is too useful to stop it completely. I just target less dangerous people.
Who is the current victim?
I would rather you did not know. You are my client, not my accomplice. Besides, I'm much more cautious since the first time you found me.
Why did you blackmail Lady Ashbury? She's a generous person. You could have asked her for money directly.
She killed those patients, I'm sure of that. I know you like her, but that gingerhead has a taste for blood.
Why did you blackmail Lady Ashbury? She's a generous person. You could have asked her for money directly.
She killed those patients, I'm sure of that. I know you like her, but that gingerhead has a taste for blood.
Tell me about yourself, Dorothy.
There is not much to say. My real name is Dorothea Crasciunescu. I was born in Romania, and I may have been the best nurse Pembroke ever had, before you fired me.
Do you regret your time at Pembroke?
I miss the energy. There was so much to do, so much to learn. Even though I was double-crossing the board, I felt I was part of something worthwhile there.
Do you think about going back to Romania? Once the war is over and the epidemic here has been contained.
Jonathan, this war will be over long before you will see any improvement in Whitechapel's sanitary situation.
Do you need medical help, Dorothy?
I'm a professional nurse. Rest assured, I'll ask for your help if I need it.
Are you not afraid of dying? The epidemic is deadly and very contagious.
I'm more afraid of being locked in a cell. I've seen what most hospitals do to the sick staff. They keep them hidden to avoid panic.
Do you trust me?
You forced me to resign after you caught me trying to save a dying patient. Of course I trust you. You're a blackmailer, just like me.
Goodbye for now, Dorothy. Keep up the good work.
Good evening, my dear colleague.
Have you any...
I can't believe that people are naive enough to trust her medicine. She's just a shady nurse with good connections.
Goodbye,
don't have your money.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind.
Fancy
You never... Right. Good evening.
I'm afraid not, Mr.
You don't...
Oh.
I can try to help your body heal, sir. But you must stop destroying it.
The war destroyed me, Doctor.
Have you...
I visited her dispensary,
A gun,
One cordial can be the answer to all your problems.
History seems to get uglier every year.
Good evening, sir. Do you remember me?
If you're here for a reward, you'll be sorely disappointed. But I'll gladly shake the hand of a fellow countryman.
I'm not here for a bounty. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed from the Pembroke.
A doctor? In Whitechapel? What an opportunity. My name's Bates. Cadogan Bates.
Do you require assistance, Mr. Bates?
Not me, but your skills could help a lot of people round here. That would help my business, because I say a live tenant's a paying tenant.
Since I took an...
Well...
Infecting...
What?
You seem to have recovered well since your attack. Do you ever think about what happened to you?
Not much. It was a fucking nightmare. Savages. Absolute bloody savages. Their appearance. Jesus. It made me want to puke.
You'd better not come back here. I won't be around next time to save you. It's unusual to see someone so happy around here, especially considering the current situation.
Why should I be sad now? There've always been wars, disease, tragedy. There always will be.
That's an unusual way of seeing things in these trying times.
I don't see why I should shed a tear for another man's woes. I'm healthy, and I intend to stay so.
Tell me, what's your honest opinion of the increasing violence in London?
People are just beginning to discover what we've always known. This city's rotten to the core. They just took their bloody time to wake up and notice it.
What do you mean?
People are acting like the violence is news. But it's always been savage down here. It just bubbles to the surface every now and again.
What is your business, exactly?
I offer fair lodgings for a modest price to the poor and weary of Whitechapel.
I see. And what about those who cannot pay?
Well, deals can be done, if you know what I mean. Money's not the only currency. After all, I'm not immune to a pretty face.
In other words, you take advantage of these poor lost souls.
Begging your pardon, I thought you was a man who could appreciate the complexity of the modern world. Things ain't just black and white, you know.
What help could I possibly be to your business?
That's simple. I already get good money from all those fleeing the war. Can you imagine what they'd be willing to pay if I could offer medical assistance too?
Mr. Bates, do not make me regret saving your life in this quarantine zone.
I understand, Dr. Reed, you're from a good family. Don't want to get your hands dirty. That's fine. I'll be happy to act as your middleman.
I'm no saint. But to take advantage as you do, you are a despicable man who could only prosper in these dark times.
So it's a no, then. That's too bad.
Have you heard
Not really.
A man such as yourself, knee-deep in the muck of Whitechapel, must know more. Speak now.
Yeah, thanks to Nurse Crane's dedication, these foreigners keep coming to Whitechapel, and my lodgings welcome all.
So business is booming.
More than ever. Hope Nurse Crane's dispensary does nothing but flourish. More money in my pocket in the end.
Why am I not convinced?
Maybe it's because you lack faith. Being a skeptic must be useful for a man of science.
Goodbye, Mr. Bane. I cannot enter. Good evening.
Evening, Doc.
Do you need...
Don't get...
I'm sorry. Goodbye, mister. It seems the Priwen are redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful.
dive!
Are you all right, sir? What are you doing in a place like this?
I'm not sure that's any of your business.
I hope you realize that staying here will put your life at great risk.
Pah! I'm not afraid of these guards of Priwen, or whatever these thugs call themselves. I can still kick some respect into those youngsters.
I wasn't specifically referring to them, but are you really after these men? Why?
They took my boy! I've had no news since he joined that crazy gang. So I decided to come and find him myself, to get some answers.
I see. But as I said, your life is at risk if you stay here. And I'm not referring to the gangs either. You should leave, sir.
Well, this part of town used to be nicer, let's say. Perhaps you're right. This isn't the best way to save Andrew.
There is a name engraved under blood on the back of the case. Jack Gillingham. Maybe I should return this watch to his family.
In the meantime, the boys are waiting for you again.
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cunt. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Do you know Edwina suspects you to be unfaithful?
Edwina's the one who asked to be called Mrs. Cox, even though Clay hadn't touched her for such a long time.
You have not answered my question.
She's a passionate woman. I've no doubt she'll shoot me down if I ever betray her, but that's not going to happen. I love her as she is.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
The sad saint? I heard he was mugged or something.
Yes, he was. But he left hospital recently.
You don't say. Well, I suppose it's good news for the homeless and the useless. Ask them, they must know something. As long as you... Without the wet boots keeping things straight, these parks will be running completely amok.
This is despicable.
Mark my words, miss. These murders are the work of a vampire.
A vampire?
Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
A vampire hunter.
You best be off to your hunting then. For if the sewer dog is back...
Welcome back, Doctor.
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
The important thing is I find him. Quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. Well, would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
Goodbye.
You still working at this hour? That's what I call dedication.
Miss Cavendish, would you be willing to help me locate Sean Hampton?
You better ask Tom, sir.
Why not answer me directly?
We respect the privacy of our customers here, sir. Only Tom can decide who to speak to and what he'll say to them.
Tell me, Sabrina, do you really believe Tom has renounced his life of crime?
He proves it to me every day he tells the truth. Tom Watts is a good man. One of the best.
And you don't think he might fall back into his sordid ways?
We can all do terrible things, Dr. Reed. And we never know what we're really capable of until it's too late.
Were you aware of Tom's past incarceration?
That's the first thing he told me when he offered me the job. He didn't want me hearing about his past from anyone else.
Did it surprise you to find out about it?
Not really. I was already aware of his reputation before I met him. That's why I came to the Turtle in the first place.
Most people would have run away because of that.
Not me. I thought a man like him could give me stability, you know? At least to some degree. And I wasn't mistaken.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish.
Let's go outside.
Good evening, sir.
And what have Mr. I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour. But I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
Maybe at least...
Tell you... All...
Really? I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Have you heard of the Guard of Prewan?
Of course.
Were you...
That...
What did it... But it... So I... Can I... If... It's... Goodbye. Good evening.
Doc...
Goodbye. And good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton. Good evening, Mr. Fisher.
Yeah.
Do you require... I don't know which kind of...
And is it your purpose?
Any chance you can help me find Sean Hampton?
The sad saint? Why would you talk to that cunt?
Actually, that's confidential.
Really? Well, go ask someone else then. I'm sure Tom Watts will gladly answer you.
Goodbye, Mr. This is a slaughterhouse. From Seymour to my beloved mother Stella. Fishburne, that sneaky bastard. It's locked. Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
I have retrieved the gift for your mother, sir.
Great. Give it here then and take this for your trouble.
I also found the corpses. The ones under which you left the necklace, Mr. Fishburne.
Ah, so that's where I left it. I can be a bit stupid sometimes.
As a man of science, I'd like to try to understand why you killed those people.
Why does there need to be a reason? They were just there. It happened. That's all.
You're not a mindless animal, Seymour. Surely you have something to say about these murders. Speak up and I will listen without judgment.
Could be right, Dr. Reed. Maybe it'll do some good to confide in a gentleman like you. You being educated and all.
Did you take pleasure in killing them, Seymour? All those people, all those lives extinguished.
I take no pleasure from it. Just gives me peace. Stills the anger. For a time.
This rage you feel, have you ever been able to control it? Resist it?
I tried. For my mum. I tried for her. Telling the truth made me feel better. For a while.
Don't you think you should seek help? Talk to someone you trust, someone who cares about you.
No. And don't dare speak about me to your colleagues either. Keep your mouth shut tight. Especially about my mum.
Why is your mother protecting you, Seymour?
I'm her son. She's the only one who knows me. Sometimes I think she knows me better than I know myself.
I understand you love her, but can't you see the awful situation you've put her in?
Do you think my mum would have a better life if I were dead? She seems so sad to know me sometimes.
I don't believe death is the appropriate sentence for murder. Not in a civilized society. But the last word has to remain with the law.
There is no law around here. No justice to be found. In these parts, revenge is the only answer.
Tell me about your victims, Seymour. Who were they? Why them? Was there a link?
Why should there be? They just kept getting on my nerves at the worst times, that's all.
How many? How many victims?
It's not like I keep records. It happens when it happens.
You feel nothing, do you? No empathy for your victims at all?
You seem pretty calm yourself, don't you?
We're not talking about me.
That right? Well, our calm's the only thing we have in common then.
Goodbye, Mr.
Seems like the guard have pre-warned us on a short hunting streak.
Crush the land! Crawl back to the hell that spawned you! Killing bastard!
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you need any help?
Rest assured, I will help you, sir. Martin Nightingale, at your service. Please, Take a look at my wares.
Your merchandise. I don't really see anything worth having. No offense.
None taken, sir. But please, I need to eat. Perhaps if you keep looking, you'd see something that takes your fancy.
I found this watch. It belonged to Miss Gillingham, but I thought you might find it useful.
That makes sense. She would have forgotten about the watch by the next day.
If you say so.
Take this for your trouble, Dr. Reed. I will not forget your gesture, I swear.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
He's a caretaker for the poor, is he not?
Something like that, yes.
Sorry, I don't know where he is.
Why not try seeking help instead of peddling your wares? I'm sure there are people around here that would gladly help.
There's always the night asylum. Heard it's run by a very nice man, but I'm no beggar. Not yet, at least.
There is no shame in asking for help, my boy.
I don't...
Let me... I meant...
And what...
What?
Not...
Huh?
Jack!
Show me...
I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not, I'll find you something.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I come in?
I already took my medication, Doctor. But thank you.
I'm sorry. Your medication? Have we met before?
Don't tease me like that, Jack. Sorry, what?
I think I should come in, miss. I'd like to check if everything is okay, what with the epidemic spreading across London.
An epidemic, you say? How terrible. I had no idea. But where are my manners? Please do come in, Doctor. You are a doctor, yes? So, Dr. Tippett, what brings you back here? I heard whispers you had a job at that fancy hospital.
I told you my name is Jonathan Reed. Don't you remember?
Of course I do. I remember my name too. Gillingham. But you may call me Enid, Doctor. I'm very happy to see you again.
Do you require
I'm glad.
I'll try my best.
Thank you, Doctor.
I'm looking for a Sean Hampton. Do you know where I might find him?
Sean Hampton, you say? Oh, the name does seem vaguely familiar, but alas, I cannot recall from where.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Oh,
Is...
my son is all...
Who are the more...
Well, I heard...
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son? No idea at all?
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him? Yeah.
Goodbye, Miss... It's locked, all right.
Something that'll strike your fancy. If not, I'll find you something.
can't believe I'm doing this.
You're mine!
Informing London's inhabitants of the presence of vampires. What does that make me? A double or a triple agent?
It's one of them! He's so fucking fast! Demon!
Done. Mr. Throgmorton should be happy. It's locked, all right. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I have your attention for a minute?
Good evening, sir.
Have we met?
No, sir.
You...
Those...
What? Ma'am. As... What? What?
Tell...
If... You...
Oh.
I'm...
What?
Well... Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Can I help you?
A fancy doctor lurking at night by the docks? Not fishy at all.
And what about you? Working outside at night in this dangerous part of town?
You want to know my secret? I'm trying to earn money. And I'm Lottie Paxton, by the way.
Is it...
Miss...
What?
It's...
What?
You... No.
Well...
Glad.
He was... Goodbye. It's locked. This must be a picture of the bomb explosion Dyson Delaney spoke of.
Why the long face, Doctor?
It looks like we both have changed a lot. I must confess, it saddens me, Sean.
Put your faith in the Lord, Doctor. He has a plan for all of us. We may not always see it, but he does.
Since you left Pembroke, the amount of blood that has been shed, it's hard to believe you, Sean.
Ask what you will. As the Lord is my shepherd, I will not speak a lie to you.
What? People I have to see for myself. But your sense of purpose and calm gives me some relief.
I'll be here when you return. If you still think I'm a threat then, well, I'll surrender myself to your judgment. We'll have a talk when you've returned from the sewers, Dr. Reed.
It's locked, all right. This could be the public house Giselle Paxton mentioned.
I should investigate that.
He's dead!
Giselle's stolen money. Priwen has some unethical ways of financing their war.
Watch yourselves! There's one of them! No! Evil! Filthy murdering bastard! Sent you to hell! The power of the Lord commands you!
It's locked.
So that's it. These wheels control the water level. This is despicable.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Learn to respect the laws of Ascalon! Once you vanished, I'll slaughter the scalds while singing your name! Here's brittle bones, newborn. Tear them apart and spill my blood to the pit. I shall crush you. Down, stay down.
At least one skull escaped Fergal's wrath. The poor creature is bleeding to death. He cannot be far.
Safe we are, still. Drink now.
Bless you, Bridget.
This isn't the blood of a vampire, but it will quench your thirst. This is our domain, not yours. You've been warned.
Wait, I saved you from this creature. That must count for something.
Thank you. Now go. Go back to the streets and houses. There is no love lost between us, Vampire. But thank you.
Please, who are you? I sense your sadness.
If you must know, they call me Old Bridget. And this shelter is where we live.
I'm Jonathan Reed. I'm a newborn Ekon. I'm afraid I'm not sure what's going on.
I shall not bend a knee, young Ekon. But I sense your pain. Ask, and I will afford you my attention.
Why was that creature after you?
Fergal is the blunt instrument of the Ascalon Club. His masters would see us dead or turned into slaves, if they had their way.
What the hell was that thing? He wasn't an Ekon or a Scow.
They are known as Volkod, an ancient offshoot of Immortals. Blood drives them, enrages them.
What of this Ascalon Club?
Vampire Society's elite in the Empire. They make the rules and enforce their judgment upon us whom they see as lessers.
So is it you that Sean Hampton sent me to find?
Perhaps. The sad saint was always kind to us. He must trust you if he revealed our location.
The Guard of Priwan is hunting him. He is suspected of murder.
The Scars have always been hunted by humans and vampires alike. I teach them how to survive against the odds.
Sean killed a patient of mine. And that's just one of the murders he's being hunted for.
If you refer to Harriet, she is now among us and under our protection.
Harriet Jones is alive. That's it. That's the proof Sean wanted me to find. I must talk to her.
No. Harriet is not alive. But you can speak to her. I must warn you. She is fragile and may not receive you warmly.
I don't understand.
She is...
Thank you.
Hello, Harriet. Do you recognize me? Do you... And what question?
Have you found... Get to...
What you... I...
Your...
Are you all... Rodney?
Yes, I did.
Then what?
I just believe I'll go back to the...
Welcome back, Dr. Reed. Would you like to take communion with me now?
Sean, are you eating raw flesh?
It is the same.
You're... I believe I've learned all I need to know. I'm certain you've killed no one, but one day I believe you'll cross the line.
Logic is a false prophet. Faith is the only path to salvation.
What do you mean?
We have been blessed with God's eternity. We are the instruments of His divine will. We shall feed the hungry forever and ever. Amen.
I will strive to emulate your merciful nature, Sean, but it's a difficult pledge to make.
Give yourself over to God, Doctor. Expel your urges and kneel before the Lord in praise.
These urges... You know the hunger will never be satisfied.
I've come to embrace the everlasting craving. I have sworn to feed only upon the flesh of the dead. It is now my sacrament. Take, eat. This is my body. So saith the Lord.
My discoveries. Vampire blood would enhance your metabolism, perhaps even heal you. If what old Bridget says is true, I'll give you some of mine.
I'd rather not. It would be extremely awkward.
You have no choice, Sean. It's the only way to protect your Whitchapel, those still amongst the living.
No, Dr. Reed. God made me this way. Who am I to disobey His will?
You believe that God's plan was for you to be abandoned at birth?
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
I can't imagine God intended for you to be molested by a priest in an orphanage. Drink, friend.
No.
I said kneel and drink. Now. Another corpse thrown in the streets. Someone's playing a very sick game.
Good evening, Mr.
Doc.
I put up your public service announcement. Consider the common folk warned about the vampiric presence.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. You may not realize it, but you saved a great many lives today.
Do you really think they could be useful?
See the sad saint of the East End? How a single man can help so many people? I consider myself the discreet...
Tell me. Did you see what happened?
Actually...
What?
You did... Who?
Goodbye.
You again? What do you want?
I've identified the men who stole from you. You were right. They were members of some self-proclaimed militia.
I knew it! Did you find the money, too?
Yes. Here it is. They thought...
I never...
Will you give the money back to your comrades, then?
Fuck those
I know you were friends with Miss Gillingham's son, Jack. Tell me about his death.
Jack's murder has been a shock to the neighborhood. A sign that the situation is now out of control.
Why is that?
There has always been tension between the Wet Boot Boys and members of the trade union. But a murder? That's a first.
Who killed him?
No one will ever know. One thing is certain. While Jack was alive, I had one less reason to drink.
Why does that upset?
Oh.
Did
no,
really?
Because...
Well...
Glad.
Did you see what?
No. I was coming back to the shelter from work when...
You saw nothing at all?
No.
A woman?
Of course. It was terrifying. I thought it was my sister, so I ran. But it was a man I've never seen round here before.
Goodbye, Miss... This is despicable. I
have this thirst for blood.
This is Braille. I need someone who can read this.
This is no place. Steady, boys! We've got one of them! One of them! We have to... It's too far. Look lively! Steady, boys! He's done for!
It's locked, all right. I can't believe I'm doing this. I have this thirst for blood. This place. Rain may have washed away the blood, but not the memory. My poor Mary. This is my watch. Damn grave robbers. This place looks like the picture I saw of the bomb site. Yes. The place has changed since the explosion, but it was definitely here. I should find some way to pay my respects. May all who suffered from this tragedy find or rest in peace. It's locked, all right.
can shut the turquoise for a time.
Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What?
I found the location of the explosion, Mr. Delaney. I placed a flower for you where it happened, just as you asked.
Really? That's so kind. I never thought...
It's not...
What? I don't want to talk
Oh,
no.
What? Is it true Sean Hampton saved your life?
Yeah. The sad saint grabbed my soggy ass and brought me back to the pier after I fell into the canal. I was a wreck back then.
Your story is a sad one, Mr. Delaney.
Sean Hampton really acted like a saint that day. But I suppose I'm just another lost soul who doesn't deserve to be saved.
Goodbye. Good evening, Miss Cox. I managed to reach the mass grave in Southwark. It was not pleasant.
Spare me the details, Dr. Reed. All I want to know is what happened to those bastards who owed me money.
I'm afraid those bastards, as you call them, are in the mass grave.
Dead? Shit. That money would have been used...
Yes.
Okay. As long as you...
Good evening, Miss.
Hello.
You don't believe he really saw something, then? Can I...
As long as...
You...
Tell me, go. Do you know?
It was all...
You could not. I even... Goodbye.
It is good to see you again, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm better than one might expect, Lady Ashbury. Dr. Swansea has asked me to investigate the recent disturbances in the hospital, caused by scars.
Really? What do you mean?
There is something ominous closing around me, Lady Ashbury. Something spies upon me from the shadows. Something cruel and wicked.
Whatever do you mean, Jonathan?
If Sean Hampton and Harriet were not the guilty parties, then who? I saw the bodies and the blood.
Your rebirth has not gone unnoticed, Jonathan. Be extremely careful. If you get in the way of an immortal's plans...
Do you suspect someone?
I don't know, Jonathan. I steer clear of vampire politics, especially whilst hunters roam the city's streets.
I discovered the most intriguing skull. An elderly woman answering to the name of Old Bridget, and a man who helps them remain hidden in London.
Old Bridget? Peculiar name, I've never heard of her.
According to Old Bridget, skulls can lead a peaceful existence like us. They are even able to nourish themselves by feeding on corpses and the flesh of the dead.
How vile. Please, Jonathan, let's change the subject.
Skulls of London have gone into hiding. Both mortals and immortals plot their extermination.
Yes. Skulls are the orphans of the Vampire Society. They are the shame of their genitors. A disgrace to the vampire that created them.
Goodbye for now, my lady.
Yes, Jonathan? Can I help you with something?
I'm better than one might expect, Lady Ashbury. Dr. Swansea has asked me to investigate the recent disturbances in the hospital, caused by skulls.
Really? What do you mean?
Goodbye for now, my lady.
Jonathan, at last. I've been worried sick. Have you solved the case of our poor Sean Hampton?
Don't worry, Edgar. The reputation of Pembroke Hospital is secure. Sean Hampton was not the guilty party.
Is that true? Oh, good news. Good news indeed.
I found Harriet Jones. She's much the same old, embittered woman she was, only she's been made a skull. Her transformation did not go well.
Incredible. Why not bring her here? We could learn so much by studying her condition. It would be fascinating.
I doubt that. She can barely move. Perhaps we could learn more about the degeneration of skulls.
Perhaps. But she could also belong to a new species. We know so little of the laws that dictate vampire reproduction.
Were there any studies made by your order on the subject?
Not that I'm aware of. I will transmit your discovery to the Brotherhood's primate. He will be delighted.
Does the name Old Bridget ring any bells?
I've never heard of her. Why? A patient of ours? I must confess, I don't know them all.
No, it's just someone I recently met. A fascinating woman. I had thought that perhaps...
By the stole, Jonathan, you've met another vampire. I would appreciate an introduction, if that's the case.
What do you know of the Ascalon Club?
Not as much as I would like. There have always been rumors about a secret society of vampires operating in the interests of the British Empire, though I've never met a member.
I crossed paths with one. A terrifying creature going by the name of Fergal. He was sent by the Ascalon Club to exterminate the Skulls of the East End.
By the stole, Jonathan. If vampires are eliminating their own progeny, then dark times are upon us. Darker than I've ever witnessed.
Do you think Lady Ashbury would know of them?
Jonathan, our beloved lady is not one for social dalliances, nor the assemblies of dark orders. She's a woman of superior taste and selective acquaintance.
A pleasure as always, Edgar.